Zoro's village isn't just some random spot in the East Blue. What if I told you it was created by samurai from Wano? Zoro's destiny was written long before he ever picked up a sword. Let's rewind the clock. 55 years before the current events in One Piece, a Wano samurai named Shimosuke Kozaburo broke Wano's isolation and set sail. He ended up in the East Blue, and guess what? He founded Shimotsuki Village, the same village where Zoro was born and raised. That's no coincidence. Kozaburo is a legendary swordsmith who created Enmouth, the same sword Zoro uses, and also Wado, Ichimonji, the white blade Zoro has had since childhood. Here's the crazy part. Wado Ichimonji didn't just end up in Zoro's hands. It belonged to Kuina, his rival and the daughter of Kaoshiru, the dojo master in the village, and Kaoshiru, he's Kazabuto's son. So Zoro didn't just randomly stumble into swordsmanship. He grew up in the exact village, founded by a Wano legend, surrounded by people from that bloodline. This means Zoro's environment was forged, literally and figuratively, by the spirit of Wano. But here's the big question. Is Zoro simply raised in a samurai village, or is he actually part of the Shimotsuki bloodline himself? Zoro's hair color, sword style, and instincts all seem too perfect. What if he's not just trained by the Shimotsuki, but born into them? Let's look at the facts. Zoro's green hair stands out. In One Piece, distinct hair often ties to family. Now look at Shimotsuki Oshimaru, the former daimyo of Ringo in Wano. He looks almost exactly like Zoro, same facial structure, same sword grip. Oda even mentioned this resemblance in SBS Volume 105, but that's not all. Oshimaru is a direct descendant of Ryuma, the legendary sword god of Wano. Ryuma's legacy is one of unmatched swordsmanship and samurai honor. Now imagine this. Kozaburo leaves Wano. His bloodline continues in East Blue. And a generation or two later, Waranoa Zoro is born. That makes him not just a random kid with sword skills, but a direct heir to Wano's samurai legacy. His natural affinity for swordsmanship, his battle instincts, his spiritual connection to swords, all of it, points to something more than just training. It feels like it's in his blood. And that brings us to Zoro's most iconic trait. His three-sword style, is that just a flashy move, or does it symbolize something deeper about his identity? Zoro's three-sword style isn't just cool, it's a metaphor. And when you break it down, each sword tells a different part of his story. Let's analyze Zoro's three signature swords because they may be doing more than just slashing enemies. Wado Ichimonji, given to him after Kuina's death, this blade represents his promise, his training roots, and his link to the Shimotsuki legacy. It's a symbol of purpose and restraint. Sandai Kitetsu, a cursed sword. It represents Zoro's inner demons, the danger of ambition, and the reckless edge of a warrior who walks a fine line. He didn't fear it, he embraced it, showing his resolve. Enma, this sword tests its user by drawing out excessive haki. It's from Wano and belonged to Kozuki Odan, now in Zoro's hands. It represents his connection to Wano's past and maybe his future. Each sword connects to a phase of Zoro's evolution, his roots, his trials, and his destiny. Together, they symbolize the balance of control, chaos, and legacy. That's the true essence of the three-sword style. But the biggest mystery remains: who were Zoro's real parents? Why was he raised without ever mentioning them? We know where Zoro trained. We know who gave him his swords. But why don't we know anything about his parents? In most One Piece backstories, family plays a central role. Luffy had Garp and Dragon, Sanji had Judge. Even Robin's mom mattered. But Zoro, there's a giant blank space. Here's the theory. Zoro's mother was a Shimotsuki, a descendant of Kozaburo, and his father may have been an ordinary villager, possibly even a wandering samurai. Due to their ties to Wano's forbidden past, they may have been targeted or separated to protect their child. There's even a fan theory that Kaoshiru could be Zoro's uncle, which would explain why he took Zoro in and trained him seriously from a young age. And let's not forget how Kaoshiru never discouraged Zoro's dreams. He knew what Zoro could become. If Zoro's parents were lost due to outside forces, or sacrificed themselves to protect him, it would explain his silence on the topic. No tragic flashback, no drama, just a quiet pain, and a deep inner drive to become the world's greatest swordsman. But now it's time to put it all together. And look at what Oda himself said about Zoro's heritage and where it all might be leading. Eiichiro Oda dropped the final piece of the puzzle, and it points to Zoro becoming more than just a straw hat. it points to him becoming a legend. In SBS Volume 105, a fan asked Oda if Shimotsuki Ushimaru could be Zoro's ancestor. Oda responded with this: "They're not father and son. But yes, they look a lot alike." That's classic Oda hinting without revealing everything. The resemblance isn't just to design its legacy. Zoro is likely part of Ryuma's bloodline, directly descended from the man who once protected Wano from dragons. Now think about the journey. He inherited Ryuma's sword after proving himself. He now wields Enma, the blade that helped wound Kaido. He was respected in Wano like a returning hero. What if Zoro's arc was never about just becoming the world's greatest swordsman, but becoming the new sword god of Wano? A protector, a symbol, a legend reborn. Zoro's journey isn't just about strength, it's about legacy. And if this theory holds true, then he's not just the future of the Straw Hat Seas, the future of Wano.